What's up, guys? This is me, Jeff Gustafson, coming at you with episode 3 of the Raw Trainer Files. Joining me today with Jeff Hain again. We're going to dive into some quad training with you today. We're just going to get right on into it. So, yeah, quad training, basically how to get jacked quads. That's what we're going to try to do. So, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of guys, they want to get big quads, but then, you kind of see what they're doing for their training, and they're just making a lot of easy to fix mistakes, basically.
Yeah.
So first one, just to jump right into it. A lot of times I see guys doing a lot of isolation exercises, right? So like most of the time they're hitting leg extensions, calf raises, leg presses. Which there's nothing wrong with leg presses, but most of the time you want to be focusing on things like squats, some heavy lunges. Those are going to be your main couple exercises there that you want to hit. Other than doing most of your training just focusing on leg extension. I don't know what are some other isolation exercises.
Yeah. So I mean, I feel so. What are some isolation exercises I see a lot of people doing? I mean,
I guess leg extension is going to be pretty much it.
Yeah, I'd say like that's the main one. I mean, leg press is always really popular just because it's easy to set up and do. At least it's compound, and so, just for, me and Jeff know, but just anyone that's listening might not know, compound, when we say isolation, we mean just one joint is moving. When we say compound, we mean two or more are moving, right? So a leg press, your knee, your hip, leg extension, it's only your knee at that point. But anyways, I don't really know if I see a lot of people doing, I'm trying to think, can't think of any other isolation for quad other than, like, leg extensions.
Yeah.
Can you?
No, I mean that's pretty much it. And I think that a lot of the time when people are doing legs, that's why they don't do legs very often, because they don't want to do squats.
But why do you feel like that is? Like, why do more people not want to do?
Because they suck. Squats suck.
Squats suck.
They're hard.
People don't suck. We would never say that.
Right.
Squats suck.
But it's a tough movement to learn too, right? It's not something that just anybody can do. I mean, we're meant to squat, but we don't ever do it, so we kind of lose that movement pattern. So I think that's part of the reason. It's a tough movement. It's not easy. I mean, it sucks to do.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of why a lot of people skip out on the squats.
Yeah.
Plus sometimes it sucks going to the gym, but and then doing an exercise that you don't really necessarily like doing, it makes it a little bit tougher to do it. Plus you don't see your legs all the time, right? I mean, you don't see your legs, so that's going to be another reason why I think people miss out on it.
I think the bulk of what I see people, like if they're doing like leg training, when I look at their program, it always includes leg press. It always includes leg extensions, like a leg curl of some sort, something like that. But yeah, not very often does it include like good squats. Like a lot of squats. At least if it is squats, it's usually like, oh, I'm gonna do like 3 sets of 8 today, and I'm going to do it on the Smith machine too.
Yeah, right.
There's not a lot of volume there. I think to get your quads to grow, which I think is another big missing step, like the amount of volume you have to do on your quads, I feel like has to be pretty high to really actually grow it. Like, I know you've got some information up there that you did on this topic. What kind of volume are we looking at for?
So I think here. So before we get into like volume per workout, a couple things that I see too is this is a big one. It's not enough weekly training frequency. Okay, so a lot of guys will just hit their legs once, right?
Like once.
Guys and girls.
That's once a week.
Like they just hit it. Their frequency being how many times you do it. It really just depends on the scale, but we'll go per week basis. Okay.
I'd say
once a week.
I'd say guys, I see that a lot. I see sometimes guys do like maybe once every 2 weeks. But I'd say for females, maybe I'm being sexist here, I feel like I see them train legs way more than they train other muscle groups.
Yeah, they do they'll hit legs a little bit more. But studies have shown that hitting a muscle more than once per week is going to be superior for muscle growth. Okay, so now it's not saying the more the better, but for quads, probably 2 to 3 times a week is probably going to be a good recommendation. Reason being is because, and this is kind of another mistake you see, so too much leg volume in one workout. Okay, so this is for really any muscle group. studies have shown that anything over 10 sets is probably a little too much. Meaning, once you hit that 10th set, and this is going to vary from person to person, so it doesn't mean 10 sets exactly. You know, it's going to be on average 10 sets.
Yeah.
Anything over that is considered junk volume. So junk volume being basically you're just doing more work, but you're not really growing any muscle. It's just going to be more time your body spends recovering, right? So you're going to use more resources towards recovering rather than actually growing muscle.
So is that just a general number across the board, or is that for more untrained novice type
for most people, most of the time too. Anything over 10 sets is probably going to be
workout?
Per workout, per muscle group too. So this doesn't mean, hey, you go and do 5 sets of chest and then 6 sets of legs and it's going to be a waste. No, it would be 10 sets of quad training. And once again, that's an average. It doesn't mean exactly 10 sets. Like some people may be able to go a little bit higher, some people less, you know. So it's just something to look out for. So it's kind of
like a starting place.
Yeah, it's a starting place. So these bro workouts where they do 20 plus sets to just destroy their quads, probably missing out on some gains. So you're probably better off splitting those. Say you do 20 sets in a workout, you're probably better off splitting those up into 2 separate days.
Yeah. And that makes sense too. You know, I mean, like we're only human. I mean, that's also too, like, that's when you actually build muscle is when you're not working out. Like, you don't build muscle while you work out, which is a common mistake that I see a lot of people make. Like, oh, I'm getting gains. And it's like, no, actually, right now you're not getting gains, even though I know what they mean. You grow while you rest, right? So if you're, like you said, if you're 20 sets in a workout, you know, and it's just going to destroy you, you know. But if you one workout, you know, a couple days of rest to grow, hit it again, you're like constantly growing versus going in that phase where you like hit a ton and then it takes you maybe you get a tiny bit of growth, but it takes you 7 days to recover before you can grow again. Like, who's going to grow faster, the person that's growing like every 2 or 3 days or the person that's only growing once a week?
Yeah.
Kind of like an arbitrary way to look at it. Not scientific by any means, but
yeah, I would say too, a good rule of thumb is if your quads are so sore the next day that you can't walk for a couple days, you probably did a little too much in that workout. You could have gotten away with doing less and saved some energy towards other muscle groups, essentially. So that's fair. So that's the way to look at it. And 2, the next time you would want to, so once again, frequency is going to be different for each person. Some person can train their quads 3 times a week. Some people can train their quads twice a week. It's just going to depend on.
Would you always say you got to do it at least more than once, though, for sure?
I would recommend twice a week.
Twice
a week. And it doesn't mean go hard both times, but it just means one session should probably be pretty tough, you know, where you push your quads, and then the next session it can be a little bit easier. Or if you're feeling good and you want to grow your legs, you know, push that workout too.
Yeah.
But I think a good rule of thumb is to, you know, see how long it takes you to recover from your quad training, and then once your quads are not sore anymore, you're going to train that muscle group again. Because they, you know, there is some information out there that says that if you train your muscles when they're sore, probably still, you know, you're still recovering, and it's probably not going to be the best for long-term gains. So,
okay.
So 2 things, just to sum that up real quick. Try to spread your quad training out to at least 2 sessions a week, and try not to go over 10 sets in a workout per muscle group. So next one, a lot of times I see people just going for the pump and burn in their quads.
Okay.
So that's fine to do from time to time, but if you're really trying to put some size on, I think it's a good idea to spend some time in the 5 to 10 rep range and going, you know, lifting some heavy weight for your legs.
Yeah.
So once again, that kind of goes back to focusing more on heavy compounds, like we mentioned, like squats, lunges. You could argue leg press too, as long as you're doing that correctly, but we'll go over range of motion here in a little bit. But it seems like the quads like that heavier style training. You know, they're bigger muscles, so they like that heavier style of lifting. So I would say, once again, about 75% of the time, focus on heavier training, and then, you know, that rest of the 25% focus on going for the burn, on leg extensions or lunges or whatever it may be, whatever you want to go for the burn.
So what would you say then? What would you recommend? Let's say you have someone's listening, or you come across someone that has some type of knee pathology. I don't know. It's an injury. It's an overuse syndrome. I don't know. Just their knees hurt if they squat, they lunge, they do anything heavy, right?
Yeah.
So can you still get quad growth off of just doing like higher rep schemes at lighter weight that might cause less pain? I mean, what's your take on that?
Yeah, you can. I mean, you just got to realize that, once there's an injury like that, I mean, it's just not going to be the most optimal way to train, right? Which sometimes you got to work around that, so that's fine. You can still definitely grow from those higher rep ranges. The caveat, though, is make sure you are training within like 4 or 5 reps of failure for each set. So say, for example, you do a set of 20. When people think they do 20 and they get a little burn, they think that set's going to grow. But really, they could have done another 10 to 15 reps. And it's like, you can still make gains off that, but you're better off going, you're going to see more growth if you go a little bit closer to failure.
Okay, that makes sense.
Does that make sense? So
yeah.
You want to say I would say within probably 4 reps. 1 to 4 reps from failure. And that's going to be a set where you're going to feel it, You're going to be like, ooh, that's a pretty tough set. Like,
okay.
I think that's a good way to kind of realize that you're getting close to failure. So that would be kind of what I would do if your knees hurt. I mean, if your knees hurt and you squat, I wouldn't squat. I mean, if your knees hurt that bad, like I wouldn't, worry about squatting. Find an exercise that works for you. There's so many variations of squats that you could do that will take some stuff.
What about like more non-traditional, like ways to train the quads? Like for example, like pedaling a bike, like at a heavier resistance, or if you're like biking uphill, pushing a sled, something like that, or dragging a sled backwards, like that stimulates the quads. I mean, if you've never done it, like it freaking hurts. It burns a lot. Do you think that's good for growing?
I'm not too familiar with like doing sled pushing and things like that. I just train like that very much, so I don't know for sure. But I would just say anything like to go back to your biking example, I would say that can work in beginning train, like people that haven't trained very much. I think they could see some growth in their quads, but anyone that's trained a significant amount of time, like somebody like me or you, is not going to be able to go in on the bike and see most of the growth on the bike. Like we're just too trained for that. I'm not saying like we're this amazing trainees, but
sure,
somebody that's a beginner may be able to see some growth from biking. Now, as far as sled pulling and pushing, I don't know. I don't train that. I haven't really messed with those before, so I don't know. That'd probably be something that you would be a little bit more.
I think more or less, like, because it does hurt. Like, it hurts a lot. There is no, like, I think a big prop. One of the reasons why I think you're probably right is you wouldn't see a lot of growth is there's no eccentric motion on any of that. It's all concentric work, right? And the eccentric motion is what creates a lot of the soreness and actually builds a lot of the strength too, right? Because you can load that heavier. I think I'd have to agree probably. But then I go back and I think like cyclists, for example, like not like long distance like Tour de France guys, but like short distance cyclists, like
that's a big quad.
Dude, they're freaking humongous.
Yeah,
like their quads are giant. So I don't know if that's a product of them cycling all the time at high intensities, or if it's a product of them training their quads and doing a ton of squats and leg presses and lunges all the time to get their legs stronger to be better at their sport. Yeah. I don't know what it's a product of. I'm just saying, like cyclists, if you don't believe me, look it up on you. Go Google images and just type up like cyclist quads or something. Like their quads are freaking humongous.
Yeah, they do have some big quads.
But I'd have to agree. I feel like you won't get as much growth because there is no eccentric loading onto it. And I think your limiting factor is going to be your cardiorespiratory endurance, not your quads going to failure.
And the other tough thing would be to track it too, like in terms of overloading. Like that would be a little bit harder to track.
Yeah.
Sled pushing compared to like a squat.
It would be. I mean, you would have to have a lot of, like, it'd have to be the same sled. You'd have to push it in the same spot. You'd have to push it, you'd have to have certain distances marked out. You could probably overload it by pushing further distances or putting more weight on the sled. And then also, too, you run into, like, okay, if I push a further distance, is my cardiorespiratory endurance going to be my limiting factor, or is my quads really going to be my limiting factor?
Yeah.
Again, if you've ever pushed or pulled a sled, cardiorespiratory endurance is usually the limiting factor on that point.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. So going for the burn / pump, and I would say maybe people when they do go for the burn / pump, just staying too far away from failure. You know, it's going to be one mistake that I see them make.
Yeah.
Because
I agree.
when you get a burn in the quads, it freaking sucks.
I agree. Like I just prime example. Like even for myself, I know. Like I probably have more in the tanker. For example, I was training a client last night. We were doing some leg press, and we were just doing sets of 12, and started out lighter, and every like I was, how was that? You know, she gives me her RPE, and I just like slowly bumped her up. It's like, all right, this is your last set. I want you to go. I want you to stop when you think you've only got 1 or 2 left in the tank. And the first set she did was like, man, that was tough. Like that was tough weight. Okay. We kept adding, and she kept hitting her reps. So the last set, we were like 50 pounds heavier than when we started. And I was like, go till you can't. And she beat her reps by like, she did like 8 more reps than we were doing at lighter weights. You know what I mean? So it was like, all right, like it just freaking sucks, and you want to give up sooner than later because set sucks.
Yeah,
It
no,
hurts.
late training sucks.
Yeah.
Once you get that burn in those quads, it's freaking hard to keep going.
Yeah, I agree. 100%. All right.
So these next two kind of go hand in hand a little bit, but going too heavy on things like squats and the leg press, which kind of leads to this next one, which is a very short range of motion for your
You know,
power
guys,
went out.
yeah,
Power went out.
You know, there's too much electricity in here between the two of us.
Um,
We're not going to cut that out, by the way, because this is raw.
This is raw. But so people going too heavy, which leads to too short a range of motion for like squats or leg press, right? So for example, loading up the squat looks freaking cool, right?
Yeah.
Same thing with the leg press, loading it up, putting a ton of weight on, looks cool. So you see people do this a lot of the time, but then when they squat or leg press, they shorten their range of motion and they put more stress on their hips,
Knees, dude.
knees, and they're not even training their quads, and all you're doing is putting more stress on your joints for really no reason. So
Yep.
in
110,000%.
And the squat is, like we talked about, it's fatiguing. And so you put a ton of weight on the squats, and you're half repping it. You're not seeing hypertrophy, which in your quads, all you're seeing is joint stress. You're getting fatigued, and then that's going to affect your other lifts.
Dude, it's funny too because people tell me all the time, like, unless you have like some type of knee pathology, right? Because that does happen, right? Knee replacements, you had some type of meniscal tears, you had some type of, ligament reconstructions, tears, stuff like that. So there can be reasons why you might not squat to death, right? Because research has been research to show that you can still see quad growth out of not using full range of motion squat reps. But remember, that is not the optimal way to do it. That's because you're literally limited by like some type of issue. Like usually it's a knee issue, right? It's not to say that those people can't squat to death, because they can. But at that point, you're literally just weighing, okay, if I squat to depth, my knees are going to swell and I'm going to be in a ton of pain for the next few days. Versus if I only do half rep squats and maybe do a box, my knees don't swell up and I'm not in pain for the next few days, and you're still going to get some benefit from it, right? So please don't misinterpret us by saying like if you don't squat to death, you're wrong. Well, but if you have an injury, like there's something going on, there are reasons not to.
Well, right, but what I was getting at is going too heavy. So don't go. If you do have that issue and you can't squat to death, that's fine, whatever. But
yeah, don't
load up the bar.
Yeah, and then squat halfway down because you can't handle the weight.
Do what you can, and like you said, if you can't squat all the way to depth, that's fine. You'll find other ways to get that quad growth.
Yeah.
But the short range of motion, you mentioned the studies on the squat. So they did do there was a new one that came out, and it showed that so anything under a 90 degree knee angle, okay, and so that's going to be different for everyone. So that doesn't mean you have to go to parallel. A 90 degree angle knee angle is going to be different for everyone.
Right.
So anything under that was inferior for quad growth. Okay. So
Makes sense.
So if you want to,
What do you mean when you say under 90 degrees? Are you talking about going below parallel?
No.
So you're a greater than 90 degrees.
90-degree knee angle.
Right.
So-
So anything bigger than that. So if you weren't going all the way down, would be a greater than 90-degree knee angle, right?
So
Or you talk.
So 90-degree. This would be 90-degree knee angle, right? This would be. What would that be? That's a.
I mean, it'd be more than 90. It'd be bigger. And then the more your knee bends, I know, like, guys, we're doing really good at demonstrating this right now. Well, this would be less than 90, right? Like a smaller angle, right?
That would be.
It's been a while since I've taken geometry.
Yeah.
I don't know, for 100%. But anyways, basically not going all the way down in the squat was shown to be inferior, right?
This confused me last time too, and I had it figured out in my head.
It doesn't matter. We know what we're trying to say, right? It basically a knee angle where you don't go all the way down, right? You stop short of going all the way down, right? Okay,
Yeah.
Cool. We're on the same page then. Just confused by the wording they use.
Right. Yeah. I'm not.
Hey guys, so rest of the video clip, there's probably another about 9 minutes or so. Got corrupted. Sorry about that. Still learning here how to throw video together, best ways to record, edit, things like that. We mostly talked about adaptive styles to train quads. You know, if you have knee pathology or hip pathology, stuff like that. If you want to learn more, you guys want to discuss that with us, drop us a comment below. If you're interested more in what we have to say, you can follow my partner Jeff at JeffH91_. You can follow me at JeffGustav, 1F, F on the end. We'll leave our handles at the description below. Drop us a comment, let us know what you think. Really excited to shoot episode 4 here. We're going to talk about discipline versus motivation. Stay tuned.